Ratchet and Clank 2 Going Commando walkthrough. This is still on that nebula that we were in the last video, but we will now be doing that second, holy cow, I cannot talk right now. We will now be doing that second objective that we kind of headed toward at the beginning of the last video, but made a kind of a 180 and did the transponder part first. Now, it is good to know that in this game you don't actually have to finish 100% of the missions, and it is a lot better on you if you do because of the upgrades that you get, and there are a lot of side missions that you will have to finish to get the things that you need, but there are a few you can skip entirely, and that's not what I'm going to be doing in this walkthrough. I'm going to be doing every single mission that is required for obviously the story completion. Now right there, I had gotten some of my health back from those stupid slot machines, and then lost it all because of a hidden explosive box. Great. So at the end of this video, maybe more like halfway through this video, we will be reaching the first coliseum, and these coliseums are a lot of fun because they are really good places to get your level up if you want extra nanotech, and they can also level up your weapons pretty quickly because there's going to be tons and tons of enemies, and there's not really any deaths. If you die, you just go back to the beginning of the challenge, and the first couple of challenges that you will succeed will give you a ton of bolts to do, but the more that you do a challenge, the less bolts that you're going to get each time you complete it. So once you finally get up here, jump on into this limo car, and we're going to be doing our first kind of shimmying around this wall, and then there's going to be quite a few more enemies to defeat before we actually get to the Coliseum. Now this isn't the only Coliseum in this game. There's going to be another one which is significantly harder just because the enemies do a lot more damage. But that'll also be all the more better to train with, my dear, and it'll probably be the one that you'll be spending all your time at once you get to it. This first Coliseum isn't really very efficient, and it is good to stay here initially, especially if you just want to get some extra boost to make the later parts of the game a little bit easier, but I don't actually spend much more time here than I need to. I think in this video I do the challenge required for the story part to be completed, and then I finish couple of other challenges just because I wanted to give them a try, and I was really surprised at how easy they were. So here we're gonna be swarmed by quite a lot of those little enemies, which I took out kind of by staying afar, and then there's gonna be a ton of these rocket enemies being dropped off by these ships, and this is where my chopper really started to see some use because my Lancer was having issues aiming, but the chopper was not, and I loved how it would swing around and hit him 3 times, and the chopper is just becoming one of my favorite weapons in this game. And as I said in the last video, I bought it for about 5,000 bolts at the vending machine at the beginning of this place, and if you can afford it, buy every single weapon, because even if there's weapons you don't like, there are going to be points where you're going to run a little bit low on ammo, and in some cases having enough weapons that are fully stocked on ammo is going to save you a lot more than using those weapons will. There's also a platinum bolt right up there that you can jump onto. If you destroy all the boxes, I don't think you can get up there, so don't get rid of all the boxes if you can avoid it. And anyway, back to the weapons. There's one, it's like the second to last level in particular, or maybe it's even the last one, that you just get so close to running out of ammo on it and having almost every single weapon bought. And I wasn't close to every single weapon, I think I had half of them bought, but if I had every single weapon bought, I would have had a much easier time getting through it, just because my issue then was running out of ammo. And that only becomes an issue because enemies later on are extremely tough. So here we also run into our first time doing wall jumping, and it's pretty much the exact same thing as in the previous game. Just jump against the wall, jump to the other side, and keep doing that till you reach the top. It is way easier than in Super Mario 64, but not quite as cool as it is in Super Mario Galaxy. And that's to be expected, considering I think this game is a little bit older. Now in this room, which kind of reminds me of a room in the first Uncharted game, is kind of weird because you're up high, they're all down low, and you may think being up high is kind of the better position, but sometimes it's kind of annoying when you can't aim at the people down below you, and anytime you try to get to where you can aim at them, they're just gonna shoot you. And trying to deal with these rocket guys with a bunch of them shooting at you is a little bit of a pain in the rear, but it's not as bad as some other enemies which are going to be shooting bullets that are basically Lancer bullets at you, and they will follow you, and then you have a big old bullet hell of bullets following every move that you're trying to make, and that gets extremely aggravating. But you know, it's not too difficult. I mean, this game is definitely harder than the first one, but I wouldn't consider it NES hard. And it seems these days only NES games get that kind of difficulty. And I was talking about that to somebody once a while ago, and they mentioned Dark Souls, and I was like, I guess sort of Dark Souls is hard, but with my experience playing Dark Souls and Demon Souls, which was the original Dark Souls basically, both of those games were hard for about 10 hours, and if you could stick around for 10 hours, you weren't going to quit. So after those 10 hours, and somebody's calling me, after those 10 hours, it just was extremely easy because every enemy attacked exactly the same, and there really was no difference. So, I don't know. Dark Souls, sorta, but when I say NES difficult, I mean it begins difficult and it ends harder than it was when it started, and Dark Souls is not that way. So, anyway, I guess if you want NES difficult, you should just go play NES games, right? Right? Haha, okay. So, stock up on some ammo before you run on inside, and the cutscene should show up here, maybe, and this will be the Coliseum that we finally reached.
Is everyone ready for tonight's mega battle? Introducing from nowhere in particular, this guy. If he can make it past all of our gladiators, he'll take home this brand new electrolyzer. If he can't make it past our gladiators, he'll receive a consolation prize. Let the games begin.
So our reward for this Coliseum is that I think it's the Hydro Pack. It kind of looked like the Hydro Pack. I didn't look up what it was before I watched this video, so whoops. But anyway, whatever it is, it's a reward that we will need to do to continue on later in this game. So initially you'll be swarmed with about 6 waves of enemies, and they're pretty much enemies you've run into. We haven't run into those big mace enemies yet, but I think at this point everything only does about 1 to 2 hits of nanotech damage to your health, so it's not really a big deal. There's ammo all around the Coliseum in case you need it, and a lot of them can be taken out with the Ratchet just fine. I don't know why my phone is all freaking out right now. Yes, I got a phone call, I know. Anyway, so use any weapon that comes to you that is easiest, and I mean, use the Ratchet when you need to. Don't waste ammo if you don't have to. I do recommend, though, using ammo when you can because you want to get those weapons leveled up. The Gravity Bomb is pretty awesome with some of these grouped up enemies, and at this point I don't think I was thinking clearly enough to actually use those, but Chopper was just so much fun. Now there's also going to be hazards on the ground and those little bombs that'll swarm you, and those bombs can be kind of annoying, but if you take them out and then jump away before they get a chance to hurt you, they're not a big deal. And there's also going to be kind of those streams that just come out of the ground, and if you watch all those and take out all 6 waves, then it should be pretty easy to take out all of them, and I'm going to be talking over this cutscene now apparently, but anyway, that went over pretty quickly, and at this point you can leave the Coliseum if you want to. But you can also do, okay, it was the electrolyzer, it was not the Hydra thing. That's what it was. Anyway, you can also do other challenges. The hazard challenge is trying to not get hit by the hazards when you're fighting enemies, and there's time challenges, and there's Chain Blade, and this one I did. As you can see here, you only get 4,000 bolts, 1,500 bolts for these challenges, so there's not really a whole lot of use staying here very often unless you just want to be a completionist when it comes to completing all of the Coliseum challenges. Now this Chain Blade guy is extremely easy, and it's kind of dumb that he's so easy, even though it is this early on in the game. So you could consider him a boss. I would probably just consider him a mini-boss just because he's pretty basic. I mean, the worst attack he does is probably that one where he's up in the sky and will throw a chain at you, and this other one, he'll just kind of ram at you and try to slice you with his sword. I think I get hit by him once or twice, but if you just keep pounding him with your weapons, then he's really not that difficult to take out. Now you'll probably run out of heavy Lancer ammo as you are attacking him, and for some reason Ratchet can't aim when he's in the middle of the air and mid-flip. I guess that's hard for some people, and that's why all my bullets are kind of flying off into nowhere a few of those times. But anyway, So I ran out of that, so I decided to get a little bit close and whack him with the gravity bomb, which did quite a bit of damage. But the thing about the gravity bomb is it's really only effective to enemies on the ground, so I got whacked by him there. But anyway, switched back to the lovely chopper, and as you notice, I forgot to get all my ammo restocked when I started this, so that was kind of weird. And then because he had hit me a few times, I was starting to get a little bit weirded out, and I was not really paying attention as much as I should have. And once again, there's ammo all over the coliseum, so it's kind of hard to run out of ammo, but it is pretty easy to get hit by him. And then I just decided to finish him off with another gravity bomb, and then I was out of chopper ammo again. Don't think that I saw that I had Lancer ammo, and got another gravity bomb ammo, which didn't help me a whole lot, and then finally realized I had Lancer ammo and took him out.
I can't believe it. Chainblade has been defeated.
So I think there is yet another challenge that I did here. I'm just gonna wait a second to see if it's anything that... Oh yeah, the B2 Brawler. Did I do that in this video? I think I might have. Anyway, as you can see, initially you get a pretty good bolt bonus for finishing one of these challenges, but if you do them more... Oh, okay, maybe it was the Electro... Oh wait, no. What did I do here? Why am I clicking through the menus? But anyway, as you do these challenges, as you repeat them, then you're going to get less and less bolts with each attempt that you try, and eventually that bolt lessening number will end. So for example, if you do something once, the first time it'll be 5,000 bolts, and the second time it'll be 2,500, and the third time it might be 1,000, but it's not going to go any lower than 1,000. And then I started this challenge, of course, forgetting to restock my ammo again, and that's one thing that you always want to do, is restock your ammo before you go anywhere, because you do not want to run out of ammo. And I think this was just another wave, round type of Coliseum challenge here. So there's just 3 of them. I actually wasn't paying attention. I don't know if I started the hazard one or not, but it might have been the hazard one. Either way, do all the challenges if you want to. They're not actually too difficult this early on in the game, and you do get a few extra bolts that can help with buying that weapon that you might want, but it's probably more efficient just to skip this Coliseum and wait until the second one a little bit later on in going Commando. So once I finish up this challenge, that looks like it'll be near the end of the level, and that'll be it for this video.
This guy's on a rampage. He'll be feeling that in the morning. Winner! Goodbye.
Hey, this would make a nice souvenir for Clank. Yeah! Hey!
You have no idea what you're involved in. Return to your own galaxy immediately, or this will happen to you. Or this will happen to you. Farewell.